Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming today. My name is Natalia, and I have a question for you. When you walk into the city, what is the first thing you see? Well, when I walk into the city, I see a lot of concrete, but also what I see is a lot of poles. Big poles, small poles, poles for lighting, and poles for communication. But have you thought there might be uses for these installations other than supporting light fixtures? Is there an untapped opportunity in these ubiquitous urban structures? We as a society are currently facing big problem. How do we stop and reverse the effects of climate change while helping cities become more livable? I have been researching this field for over 9 years and spent most of these years with air pollution monitoring devices in my pockets and in my backpack. I learned to make my own devices, one of which you can see here. And I spent a lot of time with looking at the Toronto air pollution. Some people got really interested in this idea and started approaching me with asking for advice about what they can do to protect their health. Many of them were parents with young children concerned about the air pollution from highways and construction in the local neighborhoods. Empowered by this interest, I started a PhD project in this area and created more low-cost air pollution monitoring devices. These devices measure levels of gases and particles coming from our cars and industry at a fraction of cost of government stations. I placed these devices in backyards of everyone who I could convince to host them and map this data to understand the effects of the city on our health. Sadly, it was a very eye-opening experience because it confirmed what I have suspected. My city is a polluted place. What was more concerning is that pollution levels were often highest next to schools and hospitals, where kids and elderly and people with compromised immune system are particularly vulnerable. I became very passionate about this issue because I felt that, given my findings, I have the duty to raise awareness. In fact, living next to a major highway myself, I discovered that I was running a risky experiment on my own health, along with many of others who are moving into high-rises, increasing in number around major roadways in the city. While the density of our cities creates efficiency, it compromises our health. Pollution has shown to be impactful on our lifespans in causing diseases such as cardiovascular and pulmonary problems. Recent studies by researchers at the Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto have shown that kids growing up close to roads are more likely to develop asthma. Pollution has been linked to increased autism, stroke, and cognitive decline. According to the report published this year by International Institute of Sustainable Development, air pollution causes 7,700 premature deaths in Canada each year and cost Canadian families an estimated of $36 billion in 2015. I know, some of you might be seriously considering moving to Rocky Mountains. But before you do so, it's worth considering some solutions. In fact, we have to create solutions because more and more of us are living in the cities. It is expected that 70% of world population will be urban by 2050. Making cities more livable and resilient will be one of the greatest public health challenges of this century. Transforming cities doesn't have to be difficult. One of the notable but little considered solution is our green space. NASA studies have shown that plants can improve air quality by as much as 60%. For humans, trees provide not just an aesthetic pleasure, but health benefits. A 2015 study showed that higher neighborhood green space reduced the likelihood of people getting heart and metabolic disease. Toronto has 10 million trees, but only less than 600,000 of them are street trees, which grow in the harshest urban conditions. They face multiple stresses, climate change, winter salt, floodings are damaging them, while the soil suffers from nutrient degradation. Meanwhile, the urban heat island effect caused by change in land use creates temperature extremes that have negative impact on our green space. Urbanization has replaced rain-absorbing green space with swaths of impermeable concrete. As a result, flooding is a huge problem that affects us increasingly. When the system becomes overwhelmed by rain, which frequently does happen, the surrounding properties pay the price. Property damage in Toronto, for example, from the rainstorms in 2013 cost the city $850 million. The number was still higher this year. We cannot easily turn our impermeable cities into parks because of high cost and maintenance required. But how can we manage all of those challenges in an efficient and cost-effective manner? This is the question that led me to develop Green Canopy. Remember those light poles I mentioned in the beginning? Well, I'd like you to close your eyes. Close your eyes and imagine walking in the city core where all the poles are covered in ivy, grasses, ferns, and mosses. A slight breeze catches the emerald green leaves as you catch a breath of fresh air. This would be made possible by my solution, Green Canopy. Green Canopy is a modular, easy-to-implement solution that creates on-demand green space. Evergreen plant blocks are vertically mounted on a sturdy but lightweight metal skeleton that can be attached to any pole. Four-season plants capture rainwater and funnel it through an array of PVC pipes filled with eco-friendly hydropolymer. Polymer absorbs and cleans the water, providing means to reduce runoff, which stresses our city watersheds. Plants capture CO2 and air pollution, making our cities more livable. According to the Toronto Hydro, there are over 190,000 light poles in Toronto alone. A mere 100 green canopies would be able to sequester as much as 70 tons of carbon. The plants are carefully selected such that they're not only able to revitalize the streets, but also clean them, absorbing emissions from the congested city arteries. I have been hard at work prototyping the design, testing various types of grasses, ferns, and mosses that can effectively absorb water and pollution, while requiring little maintenance. Sensors for air pollution, noise, temperature, humidity are also integrated into Green Canopy and transmit data wirelessly over cell network, making it publicly available in the form of online maps. Such maps would help increase our awareness of air quality, the levels of noise and the heat in the city, allowing us, the public, to work with policymakers to co-design more effective urban interventions. Green Canopy is a catalyst for positive change, both literally and metaphorically. Plants catalyze conversion of sunlight energy, while water is captured and cleaned. On a higher level, Green Canopy catalyzes 8 core outcomes. It cleans our air, making cities healthy. It captures greenhouse gases, reduces heat island effect, making our cities cooler and more energy efficient. It captures rainwater, preventing flooding. It preserves ecosystem and creates habitats for birds and insects. It improves our well-being, creating welcoming streets for citizens to gather. And it creates public awareness that helps us educate our children about the importance of air and water management. Finally, it collects data on the core city metrics that helps us work together to develop better evidence-driven urban interventions. Green Canopy has the capacity to benefit us immediately, but also benefit the whole ecosystem as well as future generations. At the societal level, such technology can be a disruptive force for positive change. Please join me today in giving our cities green lungs. Thank you.